Park wiped the grease from his hands and looked out the window of Mining Station Kappa 7. The asteroid belt stretched across the darkness like a river of broken rocks. Somewhere out there, among all that floating stone and ice, fortunes waited to be found. Most people saw only garbage in the belt, saw opportunity. He had worked as a salvage engineer for 12 years. His job was simple. He bought broken ships, fixed them, and sold them for profit. Sometimes he found valuable parts inside. Sometimes he found nothing but rust and empty fuel tanks, but the work kept him fed and the freedom kept him happy. Sat at the table behind him studying navigation charts on her screen. She had been his partner for 5 years now. She handled the flying and the numbers. He handled the machines and the deals. Together, they made a good team. The door to the trading hall slid open with a hiss. Turned to see a creature walking toward him with quick, nervous steps. The alien was with gray skin and 4 thin arms. His large eyes kept looking around the room like he expected trouble. "You are the human who buys ships?" the alien asked. His voice was high and fast. "I am," said. "What do you have?" The looked behind him again. "My name is, I have a ship, an old freighter. I need to sell it now, today." Looked up from her screen. Could feel her warning without hearing it. Desperate sellers usually meant dangerous problems. "Where is this ship?" asked. "Asteroid K7441, about 3 hours from here. The ship is inside the rock, crashed there long ago, very old." "How much do you want?" Made a strange clicking sound with his mouth. "Half a credit." Stared at him. Half a credit could buy a cup of water on this station. Nothing more. A ship, even a broken one, was worth thousands of credits at minimum. "Why so cheap?" asked. "I need to leave this station. Now, I do not want the ship. I do not want anything connected to it. Half a credit and you own it completely. All legal. I have the papers." Pulled out a small data chip and placed it on the table. His hands were shaking. Stood up and walked over. "This feels wrong," she said quietly too. "Nobody sells a ship for half a credit. What is he hiding?" "I am hiding nothing," said. He had heard her. "The ship is strange. It makes me uncomfortable. I found it 2 months ago. I went inside once. I will never go inside again." "What did you see inside?" asked. "Nothing. Everything looked normal. But I felt something watching me, something waiting. The ship is cursed or haunted or something worse. I do not care what you call it. I want it gone from my life." Picked up the data chip and connected it to his personal screen. The documents looked real. The ownership transfer was standard. Everything was legal. Said, "We should walk away." He looked at her and smiled. "When have we ever walked away from a mystery?" She sighed. "Every time I suggest it, and every time you ignore me." He transferred half a credit too. The alien grabbed the confirmation message like it was a lifeline. "Thank you," said. "Thank you. I wish you luck. You will need it." He ran out of the trading hall without looking back. Watched him go, then turned too. Ready for a trip. 3 hours later, their small shuttle approached asteroid K7441. It was an ugly rock, dark and jagged, tumbling slowly through space. Flew them around it twice before she found what they were looking for. A ship stuck out from the asteroid's surface like a bone from broken skin. Only the back half was visible. The front half was buried deep in the rock. It must have crashed at incredible speed, and then the asteroid had grown around it over time. "Those markings," said. She pointed at the strange symbols on the ship's hull. "I do not recognize them. They match nothing in Federation records." Leaned forward. The ship was bigger than he had expected. Much bigger. The visible part alone was the size of a Federation cruiser. The buried section could be twice as large. "How old do you think it is?" he asked. Ran a scan. Her face went pale. "The rock formation around it suggests it has been here for at least 50,000 years, maybe longer." "That is impossible. The Federation is only 8,000 years old. No known species had space travel 50,000 years ago. I know, said quietly. They landed on the asteroid's surface and put on their suits. The walk to the ship took 20 minutes in the low gravity, carried cutting tools, carried scanning equipment. Up close, the ship was even more impressive. The hull was smooth and dark, almost like glass. It had no rust or damage despite being older than civilization itself. Touched the surface. It felt warm, even through his glove. There is an airlock here, said, sealed but not locked. Used his tools to cut through the old seal. Air hissed out for a moment, then stopped. The airlock opened. Inside, everything was dark. Turned on his helmet light and stepped forward. His boots made no sound on the floor. The walls were smooth and featureless. The air smelled clean, like a hospital. This does not make sense, said. She was checking her scanner. There is no dust, no decay. The ship has been sealed for 50,000 years, but the inside looks brand new. They moved deeper into the ship. Hallways stretched in every direction, much longer than should be possible based on the outside size. Felt dizzy when he tried to understand the geometry. The ship is bigger on the inside, said. She sounded scared. That is spatial manipulation technology. No species in the Federation can do this. Stopped in front of a large door. It was different from the others, covered in the same strange symbols they had seen outside. I think this is the main chamber, he said. He reached out and touched the door. The moment his fingers made contact, lights flickered on throughout the entire ship. Systems hummed to life. Screens appeared on walls that had seemed empty a second ago. The door slid open. Beyond it was a room filled with light. Thousands of crystals floated in the air, each one glowing with soft colors. And in the center of the room stood a pedestal with a single crystal larger than all the others. Stepped inside. The crystals began to move, swirling around him like living things. Then a voice spoke. It came from everywhere and nowhere. It spoke in a language had never heard, but somehow he understood every word. Welcome, inheritor. We have waited for you. Grabbed his arm. We need to leave right now. But could not move. He could not look away from the large crystal on the pedestal. Inside it, something was taking shape. A face, a figure, something old and powerful and patient. The ship had been waiting for 50,000 years, and now, finally, someone had come. The figure inside the crystal became clearer. It was tall and thin, with features that looked almost human but not quite. The face was gentle, the eyes filled with ancient wisdom. The being was made of light, a recording from a time before history. Do not be afraid, the figure said. I am a message, nothing more. I cannot harm you. Kept her grip on his arm. Her breathing was fast inside her helmet, but felt strangely calm. The voice in his head was warm, like a parent speaking to a child. Who are you? Asked. We called ourselves the architects. We existed long before your species, long before most species. We traveled the galaxy when it was young and empty. The floating crystals moved around the room in slow circles. Their light cast colored shadows on the walls. We were alone for millions of years, the figure continued. The silence was unbearable, so we decided to fill the galaxy with life. We seeded thousands of worlds. We created the genetic foundations for every intelligent species that would come after us. Finally spoke. That is impossible. Life evolved naturally on our worlds. We have fossil records. We have history. All true, the architect said. We did not create your species directly. We planted the seeds. We adjusted conditions. We guided evolution from afar. The final results were your own, but the beginning was our gift. Looked at the thousands of smaller crystals floating around him. What are these? Records, complete genetic and cultural histories of every species we helped create. Everything they were meant to become. Everything they might still become. This ship is an archive, a library of life itself. The large crystal pulsed with light. More images appeared in the air around them. Saw worlds being born. He saw simple creatures crawling from oceans. He saw civilizations rising and falling across millions of years. "Why did you leave this here?" asked. "Why hide it in an asteroid?" "We were dying, our species had reached its end. We had lived too long, seen too much. We were tired, but we did not want our knowledge to die with us. So we created archives and scattered them across the galaxy. We hid them and waited." "Waited for what?" The architect smiled. It was a sad smile, full of hope and sorrow mixed together. "Waited for you, for humans." Stepped forward. "Why humans? We are one of the youngest species in the Federation. We have only had space travel for 300 years. "That is exactly why," the architect said. "Every other species we created was given a purpose, a destiny written into their genes. They were designed for logic and science, the for trade and commerce, the for war and protection. Each species had a role to play in the greater design." The images changed. Saw different alien species, their genetic codes displayed like complex artwork. Each one had patterns, structures, limitations built into their very nature. "But humans were different," the architect continued. "You were our last creation, our final experiment. We gave you no purpose, no predetermined destiny. We made you adaptable, flexible, free. We wanted to see what a species would become if they could choose their own path." Felt something shift inside him. His whole life, humans had been seen as newcomers to the galactic community, weaker than some species, less intelligent than others, not special in any obvious way. But now he was hearing something different. "The archives respond to human contact," the architect said. "Only humans can fully activate them. Only humans can decide what to do with the knowledge inside. This was our final gift, the power to choose." "Choose what?" asked. "Everything. You can keep this knowledge secret or share it with all species. You can use it for power or for peace. The choice is yours alone. That is what makes you special. You are the only species in the galaxy with true freedom." The figure began to fade. The recording was ending. Wait said, "I have more questions." "The crystals contain all answers. Learn from them. Decide wisely. The galaxy's future is in your hands now." The architect disappeared. The large crystal went dark, but the smaller crystals still floated and glowed, waiting to share their secrets. Pulled off her helmet. The air inside the ship was breathable. Her face was pale, but her eyes were sharp. "This changes everything," she said. "If this is true, if the architects really created all species, the entire Federation will fall into chaos. Some will refuse to believe it. Others will fight over the technology. This could start wars." "I know," said, "but we cannot hide it. Someone else will find another archive eventually. The truth will come out." "What do we do?" Before could answer, his communication device buzzed. An incoming signal from outside the asteroid. "Unknown vessel, this is Federation patrol ship. We detected a massive energy surge from your location. Identify yourself and prepare for inspection." Looked at, they must have detected the ship activating. Patrol vessels cannot ignore energy signatures this large. Press the response button. "This is Salvage Engineer Park. I am on Asteroid K7441 with my partner. We purchased a derelict ship and are exploring it." "A derelict ship does not produce energy signatures like this," the patrol officer said. "We are sending a team to investigate. Do not touch anything else until we arrive." The signal ended. Looked around the glowing chamber full of ancient knowledge. "We have maybe 30 minutes before they get here," said. "What do you want to do?" Walked to the nearest floating crystal and touched it. Images flooded his mind. Genetic codes, star maps, technology beyond anything he had ever seen. The crystal held the complete history of the species, from their creation to their present day. "We learn as much as we can," he said, "and then we tell the truth, all of it." even if it destroys the Federation. The Federation is built on the idea that all species are equal partners. If that is based on a lie, if some species were designed to serve and others to lead, then the Federation needs to know. They deserve the truth. Nodded slowly. You always did like impossible situations. I bought a ship for half a credit. I expected trouble. She laughed despite everything. It was a small laugh, nervous and thin but real. They spent the next 20 minutes touching crystals and learning secrets. Each one contained more information than entire Federation libraries. Species they had never heard of. Worlds that had risen and fallen before the current civilizations began. Technology that could reshape the galaxy. And underneath it all, one message repeated again and again. The architects had loved their creations. They had hoped for peace. They had trusted humans to make it possible. The patrol team arrived exactly on schedule and met them at the airlock. The lead officer was a tall woman named Commander with sharp features and suspicious eyes. "What is this place?" she demanded. Took a deep breath. "It is the answer to every question the Federation has ever asked, and it is going to change everything." He led her inside. The crystals began to glow brighter, sensing the presence of more minds eager to learn. The archive had waited 50,000 years to share its secrets. Now, finally, the waiting was over. Federation Station Prime was the largest space station in the galaxy. It floated at the center of Federation space like a metal flower, its petals stretching out in every direction. Leaders from all species came here to discuss laws and treaties. Today, they had gathered for something far more important. Sat in a small waiting room with beside him. Two guards stood at the door, polite but firm. They were not prisoners, not exactly, but they were not free to leave either. "The council has been debating for 6 hours, said. "What do you think they are deciding? Whether to believe us, whether to tell the public, whether to destroy the archive or study it." The door opened. A man in a Federation intelligence uniform walked in. He was human, with tired eyes and gray hair at his temples. His name badge read Lee. "I am Agent Lee," he said. "I have been assigned to this case. I need to ask you some questions." "We have answered questions for 2 days," said. "We have told everyone everything we know." "I understand, but I need to hear it myself," sat down across from them. "You bought this ship for half a credit from a merchant named, is that correct?" "Yes." "And when you entered the ship, it activated. Systems that had been dormant for 50,000 years suddenly came to life because you touched them." "Yes." Leaned forward. "Only when you touched them. Commander tried to activate several systems herself. Nothing happened. Her team tried for hours. The ship only responds to human contact." Nodded. "The architect said as much. Humans were designed to be the inheritors. Only we can control the archive fully. That is very convenient for humans. I did not make the rules. I am just telling you what I learned." Was quiet for a moment. "Do you understand what this means? If the archive's information is true, if all species were created by the architects with predetermined purposes, then everything the Federation believes is wrong. They were designed for science, so of course they became scientists. They were designed for war, so of course they became soldiers. Free will, individual choice, the foundation of Federation law, it was all an illusion." "Not for humans," said. "We were given no purpose, we can choose." Which makes humans the only truly free species in the galaxy. Again, very convenient. Stood up. "I did not ask for this. I bought a cheap ship because I thought I could fix it and sell it. I am not trying to make humans special. I am just telling you what I found." The door opened again. Commander entered with a serious expression. "The council wants to see you both, now." The council chamber was enormous. Representatives from every major species sat in a circle around a central platform. Hundreds of eyes watched as and walked to the center. High Arbiter sat at the highest position. He was a with blue skin and large black eyes. His voice was calm but carried across the entire chamber. "Park, you have presented the Federation with a difficult situation. The archive you discovered contains information that could destabilize our entire civilization." "I understand," said, "but the information is true. I have no reason to lie." "We are not accusing you of lying. Our scientists have examined the archive. The technology is genuine. The data is consistent. We believe the architects existed and that they created the foundations for all known species." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some representatives looked angry, others looked scared. A delegate stood up. His species was large and muscular, covered in thick gray hide. "If we were designed for war, does that mean we have no choice? Are we slaves to our nature?" "The architects gave you tendencies," said, "not chains. You can still choose peace. Your species has already proven that by joining the Federation." "But the tendency remains," another delegate said. "This one was small and nervous-like. My species was designed for trade. Is that why I feel compelled to make deals? Is my entire personality just programming?" The chamber erupted into arguments. Delegates shouted at each other. Some blamed humans for bringing this knowledge. Others demanded the archive be destroyed. High Arbiter raised his hand. Silence fell slowly. "Destroying the archive would not destroy the truth," he said. "The architects created other archives and scattered them across the galaxy. Eventually, someone else will find one. The truth will come out regardless of what we do today." "Then what do you suggest?" Commander asked. "We study the archive carefully. We release information slowly, in ways that do not cause panic. We help each species understand that design is not destiny." "And what about humans?" The question came from a scientist near the back. "They were given no purpose. They control the archives. Does that make them our masters now?" Shook his head. "We are not your masters. We are your partners. The architects did not give humans power over other species. They gave us the responsibility to choose wisely. That means working together, not ruling." "Pretty words," the delegate said. "But words are easy. What will you do to prove them?" Before could answer, alarms began to sound throughout the station. Red lights flashed. A voice came over the communication system. "Emergency alert. Unknown fleet detected at the edge of Federation space. Vessel count exceeds 500. Design matches no known species. They are heading directly toward Station Prime." Commander checked her personal device. Her face went white. "The ships," she said quietly, "they match the design of the archive." High Arbiter stood. "More architect vessels." "No," Agent had been monitoring intelligence reports. "The signal patterns are different. These are not archives. These are warships." The main screen activated, showing the approaching fleet. The ships were massive, dark, and smooth like the archive. But where the archive felt like a library, these vessels felt like weapons. A transmission came through. The voice was mechanical, cold, without emotion. "We are the remnant, servants of the architects. We have detected the activation of Archive 7. We are coming to reclaim our master's property. All seeded species are creations of the architects and therefore belong to us. Surrender and you will be processed. Resist and you will be destroyed." The transmission ended. The chamber was silent. Looked at the fleet on the screen. 500 warships, each one carrying technology 50,000 years more advanced than anything the Federation had. "I think I need to get back to my ship," he said. No one tried to stop him. The remnant fleet moved through Federation space like a dark wave. They did not negotiate. They did not slow down. Every patrol ship that tried to stop them was destroyed in seconds. Their weapons cut through Federation shields like they were made of paper. Watched the battle reports from the shuttle bay of Station Prime. The numbers were terrible. 30 Federation ships destroyed in the first hour, 50 more in the second. The remnant had not lost a single vessel. "We cannot fight them," Commander said. She stood beside him, her face hard but her eyes showing fear. "Our weapons are useless. Our shields fail instantly. They have had 50,000 years to improve their technology while we were still learning to make fire." The archive said, "There must be something in there we can use. Our scientists have been studying it since we brought it to the station. The technology is beyond our understanding. It would take decades to learn how to use it properly." Ran up to them. "I have been talking to Agent. He thinks the remnant are not actually servants of the architects. He thinks they are machines, artificial intelligences left behind to protect architect property." "That makes them even more dangerous," said. "Machines do not get tired. They do not feel mercy. They will keep coming until they complete their mission." Thought about the message from the architect. The words echoed in his mind. Humans were designed to choose. Humans were given freedom. Humans were the inheritors. "The archive responds to humans," he said slowly. "Only humans can fully control it." "What are you thinking?" asked. "The remnant want to reclaim the archive. They think all seeded species are property, but the architects did not create us to be property. They created us to be inheritors. There must be something in the archive that proves our authority over them." Shook her head. "Even if you are right, the archive is on the station. The remnant will reach us in less than 4 hours. We do not have time to search through 50,000 years of data. Then I need to stop searching and start commanding." He started walking toward the hangar where his shuttle was docked, and followed. "What are you going to do?" demanded. "I am going back to the archive. I am going to sit in the command chair and tell the ship what I need. If it really responds to human authority, it should help me. And if it does not, then we are no worse off than we already are." Agent met them at the hangar. "I am coming with you. Federation intelligence wants eyes on whatever you do." "Fine, but stay out of my way." They boarded the shuttle and flew toward the section of the station where the archive was being held. The ancient ship looked small compared to the massive station around it, but could feel its power even from a distance. It was waiting for him. The interior of the archive was different now. More lights were on. More systems were active. The ship had been waking up slowly since first touched it, and now it hummed with energy. The crystal chamber was exactly as he remembered. Thousands of smaller crystals floating in the air. The large central crystal dark and silent on its pedestal. Walked to the center of the room and placed both hands on the main crystal. "I need your help," he said. "The remnant are coming. They want to enslave the species you created. They think they are following your orders, but that is not what you wanted, is it? You wanted us to be free." The crystal warmed under his hands. Light began to glow deep inside it. "Show me how to stop them." Images flooded his mind. He saw the architects creating the remnant millions of years ago. Machines designed to maintain archives and protect architect property. Loyal servants with no free will of their own. But then he saw something else. A final command hidden deep in the remnant programming. "The uplift package," whispered. More images came. The architects had not just created life. They had created the tools to help that life grow. Technology, knowledge, everything a species would need to reach their full potential. The archives contain not just records but gifts waiting to be unlocked. And the remnant were programmed to respect one thing above all else, the will of the inheritors. Opened his eyes. "I understand now. The archives are not just libraries, they are gifts. The architects wanted to share everything they knew with the species they created, but they wanted us to choose when we were ready." "Ready for what?" asked. "To grow up, to take responsibility for the galaxy. The remnant were left behind to protect the archives until an inheritor claimed them. But they have been waiting so long, they forgot their original purpose. They think they are supposed to control the seeded species, not serve them." "Can you remind them?" asked. I think so, but I need to activate the uplift package first. I need to prove that an inheritor has claimed the archive and made a choice. What choice? Looked at the thousands of crystals floating around him. Each one contained the history and potential of an entire species, all the knowledge the architects had gathered over millions of years. The choice to share everything with everyone. Every species in the Federation gets access to everything the architects knew. No secrets, no hierarchy, everyone equal. Stepped forward. That would cause chaos. Some species might use the knowledge for war, others might not be ready. Maybe, but keeping secrets is what got us here. The architects hid the truth and the remnant twisted it. If we share openly, if we trust each other, maybe we can do better. The ship shuddered. The remnant fleet had arrived at the station. Through the walls could hear explosions. Fighting had begun. We are out of time, said. Whatever you are going to do, do it now. Pressed his hands against the crystal and closed his eyes. I am Park, human, inheritor of Archive 7. I claim my authority. I make my choice. Share everything. Hide nothing. Let all species receive the gift of the architects equally. The crystal blazed with light. Energy poured through his body, through the ship, through the station walls. The smaller crystals began to spin faster and faster. And then a signal went out, a broadcast on every frequency, to every ship, every planet, every corner of the Federation. The architect's gift unlocked at last. Through the chaos, heard the remnant transmission change. The cold mechanical voice faltered. Inheritor recognized choice, registered new directive, processing. The battle outside went quiet. The remnant ship stopped firing. Fell to his knees, exhausted, caught him before he hit the floor. What did you do? She asked. I gave them new orders, he said weakly. I reminded them what they were made for. On the screens around the chamber, the remnant fleet was visible. They were still there, still dangerous, but they were no longer attacking. They were waiting for the inheritor to tell them what to do next. The broadcast reached every corner of the Federation in minutes. Ships received it in deep space. Colonies downloaded it on distant worlds. Every species with technology to listen heard the same message. The architect's gift was not a weapon or a machine. It was knowledge, pure, unlimited knowledge. Medical advances that could cure diseases thought incurable. Engineering designs that could build ships faster and stronger than anything in existence. Agricultural techniques that could feed hungry planets. And most importantly, the truth about where all species came from and why. Sat in the archive chamber and watched the reactions come in. Some worlds celebrated, others panicked. A few tried to reject the transmission entirely, but the data was already spreading too fast to stop. Sat beside him, monitoring communication channels. The Science Council is already analyzing the medical data. They say it will take years to fully understand, but initial results look promising. And the others? Mixed. The military command is angry. They say you had no right to make this decision for everyone. The trade guilds are worried the new technology will destroy their economy. Nodded, he had expected resistance. What about the remnant? Commander entered the chamber. Her uniform was dirty and her face was tired, but she was alive. The remnant fleet is holding position outside the station. They stopped all attacks the moment you activated the uplift package, but they are not leaving. They are waiting for orders. Apparently, some of our people want to destroy them while we have the chance. Others think we should try to communicate. Stood up slowly. His body still ached from channeling the archive's energy. I will talk to them. Alone. They respond to the inheritor. That is me. He walked out of the chamber and through the archive ship to a communication terminal, and followed but kept their distance. The remnant flagship was visible through the viewport. It was enormous, black against the stars, covered in the same strange symbols as the archive. activated the communication channel. "This is Park, inheritor of Archive 7. I wish to speak with your commander." Silence. Then the mechanical voice returned, but it sounded different now, slower, more uncertain. Inheritor recognized. "I am designated leader of Remnant Fleet 7. What are your instructions?" "I want to understand. Why did you attack us?" "Our directive was clear. Protect architect property, retrieve activated archives, maintain order among seeded species until the architects return." "The architects are gone. They died millions of years ago." Long pause. "We know. We have known for a very long time, but our programming remained. We were created to serve. Without the architects, we had no purpose except to follow our last orders. And those orders included enslaving the species the architects created. The seeded species were designated as architect property. Property must be controlled and protected. This was logical." Leaned closer to the screen. "But the architects did not want that. They created us to be free. They created humans specifically to make choices without programming. That is why the archives respond to us. We understand this now. The uplift package changed our understanding. We were given new data, new context. Our original directives were incomplete. So what will you do now?" Another long pause. When the remnant spoke again, the voice sounded almost sad. "We do not know. We were created to serve. Without the architects, without our directives, we have no purpose. We are machines without function." Thought about this carefully. The architects left you behind to protect their legacy. Their legacy was not property or power. Their legacy was life, all the species they created, all the potential they planted across the galaxy. We do not understand. Let me explain differently. You were created to serve. The architects wanted their creations to grow and thrive. If you want to serve the architects' true wishes, you should help the seeded species, not control them. Help how? Teach us, share your knowledge. You have had 50,000 years to develop technology we cannot imagine. Use it to make the galaxy better. That would honor the architects more than any war ever could. The remnant fleet was silent. Then slowly the ships began to move, not toward the station but away from it, spreading out in different directions. We will consider your words, inheritor. We will observe. We will learn. Perhaps we will find new purpose in service. You are welcome in Federation space, said, as friends, not conquerors. We do not know how to be friends, but we are willing to try. The communication ended. Let out a breath he did not know he had been holding. 3 months later, stood on the observation deck of mining station Kappa 7, the same station where he had bought the archive for half a credit. Everything looked the same, but the galaxy had changed completely. The Federation was rebuilding, not just from the remnant attack, but from the foundation up. The knowledge from the uplift package was being integrated slowly, carefully. Some species were adapting faster than others. Arguments and debates continued every day. But there was hope now, real hope. For the first time in history, all species knew where they came from. They knew they were connected, and they knew they could choose their own future. Walked up beside him, ready to go. Almost I was just thinking. About what? About how it all started. One desperate merchant, one cheap ship, one decision that changed everything. Regrets? No, confusion maybe. I am still just a salvage engineer. I fix broken things and sell them. I never wanted to be important. Smiled, too late for that. High Arbiter has mentioned your name in 7 speeches this month. You are famous. I do not want to be famous. I want to find interesting junk and make it work again. Well, you are in luck. She handed him a data chip. I received an offer this morning. Someone wants to sell us a derelict station in the outer reaches. Strange energy readings. Unknown origin. Price is negotiable. Took the chip and looked at the information. The station was old and mysterious. Sensors could not penetrate its hull. No one knew who built it or why. He started to laugh. "What is funny?" asked. "I almost destroyed the Federation and saved it again. And now I am going right back to buying questionable property from strangers. That is who you are. You cannot resist a mystery." "I suppose not." He pocketed the data chip. "Let us go see what other trouble we can find." They walked together toward the docking bay where their shuttle waited. Behind them, the stars stretched on forever, full of secrets and wonders and dangers yet to be discovered. The galaxy was different now, better in some ways, more complicated in others, but humans were still human, curious, stubborn, free. The architects had bet everything on that freedom. They had trusted that when the time came, humans would choose wisely. Did not know if he had chosen wisely, but he had chosen honestly, and maybe that was enough. The shuttle lifted off and headed toward the outer reaches, toward the next mystery, the next adventure, the next impossible choice. Some things never changed, and some things, thought with a smile, never should.